So, hi everyone. My name's Lou Martin, and you probably all know me. And I do channeling work here. And I'm with my dear friend, my new best buddy, Ingrid Turner. It's been love at first sight, and yeah, so I'm delighted to share her with you. She's amazingly gifted and talented. And Ingrid Turner, channel extraordinaire. Tell us about yourself. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lou. I'm so happy to and honored and humbled to be here with you and talking to you, just having this conversation. So
Thank
in a
you.
nutshell, I call myself a spiritual medium, which means that I use the modalities of psychic and mediumship to express the divine, to express source, to express God, whatever container, bucket, name feels good for you. That's what I'm trying to move myself out of the way and bring through. You could be a psychic and a medium and not be spiritual, or you can take the two and weave them together, which is what many of us do. But I really made it my mission to bring that to the forefront. And one of the ways that I've done that is I've recently started a religious organization. It's called Baba
Right.
Spiritual Mission. It's all legal and set up now, so I can talk about it.
Okay.
And what that does is that it's twofold. It helps us, anybody who's interested in that direct connection to the divine by using these senses, the psychic and the mediumship senses, can have that. Those of us who are sort of the forefronts in this church, if you will, our job is to get the hell out of the way and be a channel for you and be as clean a channel as possible, and then ultimately to help people connect directly. And then I also train people to come in and do this work, to do spiritual mediumship work if that's their calling. And what I'll do is I'll take you through a school, like a program, and I'll teach people how to reveal to themselves, reveal their gifts, like the easiest way that they connect with the divine. And then in addition, I teach people how to be successful in a more business sense, so that they can go out and build their own communities and live their life totally in partnership with spirit.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Your new religion, what's the name of that, and what does the name mean? Where does the name come from?
It's called I don't know if religion is very, that's touchy, but it's a church. It's non-denominational, or it's all denominational. It's the dogma of no dogma, right?
Okay.
There's room in creation for all of it. And your job is to show up, listen to Spirit's message as it comes through the channel of your voice,
Right.
and hold on to what resonates with you and let the rest go. Just let it go.
Okay.
It's our own individual path. It's called Bhava, Bhava. Bhava is Sanskrit for love without object.
Great.
So it means love with no need to put it on anything. And I got this name because I was asking for the name, kind of where to go with this.
Right.
And I had a feeling. I was just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, probably worrying about something. And all of a sudden my heart just went, whoom, just expanded open. And I had this feeling of immense love. And so a couple of Google paths later, I found Bhava, the Sanskrit term. And when I read the word bhava, I went, ooh, there's something about that. And I looked at the definition, and it was love without object. And I went, oh, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. That's awesome. I never heard that word before. That's great to learn that. So do you want to tell us, Ingrid, how you kind of got started into all of this, and a bit of your history, your story?
I would love to. So when I was a child, I was way open to spirit. I was out in the woods all the time, just wandering around, probably pretty far out, pretty out of my body. When I was a kid, though, I grew up in a really spiritual household, so I should have had a youth. Excuse me. I should have had youth that really fostered this, that really like made this an easy place for me to grow up and live to. But I somehow still got the message that the way I wasn't okay. And I can remember my parents, God bless them, they didn't mean any harm, but I would hear things like, Ingrid is really out to lunch. So I'd be like, oh, I'm not supposed to be this way. So I worked very hard to stuff myself into a box and get very, very practical, and I grew up and I got into adulthood, and I had my son. I got married young. I had my son young at 21. And then shortly thereafter, his dad and I split, and I ended up not just a single mother, but a solo mother. So I didn't have a partner to help me raise my child. And that made me get even more kind of serious. So I worked, and I got into marketing and in the corporate world and technology, and I did really well. I worked my way up the ladder, and did a whole bunch of different things, and was really doing well supporting my son and being a professional woman. And I really built a very strong ego identity around that.
Right.
I am hard driving, professional, working, super solo mama, like unbelievable. but I was very unhappy because I had really
Right.
stuffed these gifts that I have in this connection to divine spirit. And I stuffed it so deep, and I started drinking a lot, you know, and not going out and partying because I had a son to take care of. So I was like, well, I'll just drink at home, you know?
Sure.
So
Sure.
I started out with glasses of wine, then pretty soon a bottle of wine, next thing you know, a bottle and a half of wine. And it was just, I mean, it was just spiraling. And I was very unhappy, and I was anxious, and I was in when it all came to a head, I was in a really difficult marriage. My second marriage, where I knew the guy for 4 months and eloped. So I was smart. You know? So he was one of those beings who the soulmates who destroy us. You know, he showed up in my life to create massive change, and it was a really challenging relationship.
Right.
Not one I would go back to.
Right.
I'm looking forward to another lifetime, or when I transition from this body, connecting with that man on a soul level, because there's a lot of soul love there. But holy God, I do not ever want to see him again in this body. You know?
Sure.
So it kind of came to a head, and I realized I was having a problem with alcohol.
Right.
And I ended up going into recovery for that.
Good.
And I did really well for a year, and I was like getting my life together, and I separated from the person who, from that relationship, that sort of whatever you have. And my son was thriving, and I was thriving, and I quit my job, and I started a marketing agency because I thought I'm just got to work for myself. So I started to feel that pull, feel myself needing to bust out of that box that I put myself into. Right. But after a year of sort of being sober and being in an AA program, which was wonderful, I got so much. It's like I started to feel something more. Like there's something else. There's something bubbling, something percolating down there. And I went, what is it? What is it? And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it with what I was doing. Right. So a friend of mine had been bugging me to go to this shaman who she'd been working with, and to go to this sort of shaman-led event. Yeah. And I kept blowing her off because I was busy and doing what have you. And I finally went, and the first one was neat. That was kind of cool. That guy looked at me, and I started bawling, you know, like you do when you're stuffed in your little box.
Okay.
But then at one point, and it was December 2015, and I went to an event, and I was all by myself. Right. And it was interesting because before I went to that event, my father has died 20 years ago. Okay. Before I went to the event, I had this moment where I went, God, I'd really like to connect with my dad, because I've always believed in this stuff. You know, I've always liked tarot cards and played with them, and you know, but I never felt like it was me, like I could do anything like that. Okay. And I just and then I let it go. I just totally let it go. Whatever. If it is, it'll be fine. Right. And I go to the event, and when I get there, there was this raven that came flying into the house. I'd hung out in the corner. Wow. And ever since my dad died, I have associated raven with him. Okay. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So then I was at this event, and I didn't know anybody because the person I was supposed to go there with didn't go, didn't end up being able to go. Yeah. I was sitting there feeling so uncomfortable. Like my whole body was, what am I doing here? Okay. An adorable little woman saddled up to me. She goes, hi, would you like some energy work? Okay. Right. Right. So I laid in front of her, and she put her hands on me. Right. She didn't do anything except set her hands on me, one on my heart, one on my abdomen. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but tectonic plates shifted inside me. Yeah, right. Good. Wow. Wrapped. Yeah. Fucking open. Yeah. And I was in pain. I had pain in my, lots of pain in my abdomen, and it was really intense. And I started crying. Right. I was laughing. Right. And I was breaking. And all of a sudden,
the laughing, crying together. That's the good one.
If you've never sobbed and howled with laughter at the same time,
absolutely.
You should. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
A woman who didn't even know my name. Okay, she didn't know my name. She goes, "Oh, your dad's here." She knows nothing about me. She doesn't know anything.
Right.
I go, what? You know, blah, blah.
Right.
She starts channeling my father for me. And giving me details that she couldn't have possibly known. Right. And I'm going, well, tell him this and tell him that. And then she gets this blank look on her face. I mean, it was the most amazing thing. All the animation just went out of her face. Yeah. No, he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. He wants to talk to you. Right. And I'm like, I can't do that. And then Lou, I felt him or something or all of it. I don't know what it was. It was this white hot energy come in through my crown. I'm lying on the floor, and it completely filled my head. Wow. And that being came in and cracked me open. Right. Like there was an energetic shift that needed to happen, but that energy through my crown, it busted me open. Wow. And I was like, whoa. And so I spent the whole night just cracked open and
Yeah.
communicating and catching up. And I
Wow.
was looking around, I was seeing people, and I was seeing their light. I was seeing all the different lifetimes that we're connected with all these people who were around me. And it was like, I was surrounded by this soul family.
Wow.
And many of them I never saw again,
Right.
but they would all just put their hands on me, like, hands. It was the most incredible experience. I mean, I'll never forget it. It was probably the most profound experience in my life.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that?
That was December 2014.
Okay. All right.
So,
just a few years.
Right before Christmas. Yeah, just a few years ago.
Right.
You know, and once that happened, Lou, so I broke open so intensely.
Yeah.
But it meant that
certainly
I was out into spirit. And I could not function for a year. I couldn't work. I ended up, my whole, like, everything kind of fell apart in Southern California, and I ended up moving back to Northern California. My friends took me in, my family took me in, my son and I bounced from place to place and home to home. I couldn't function. And I don't know how it happened, but I got like $10,000 tax return on my tax return because I'd worked 2 months and I had a kid, so it just all kind of like came together. And I was taken care of because I didn't have to pay rent. You know, my friend took me in, and we went out to the middle absolutely nowhere, which was perfect because it was out in the woods and like there was no town. And then when that kind of came to a close, I went in and stayed with my mother, and that was humbling. You know, I'm a woman in my 30s, and I'm taking my kid and going to my mom's 1-bedroom house and sleeping on the couch. You know, it's like, and they were just, everybody around me was so great. So much support. People came in and like kind of grabbed my ankle to come back down to earth. But what was really important that came from that is I realized very quickly that I could no longer do what I had been doing. I could no longer it took me about a year to ground and come down and be like, okay, well, this is what I need to be doing. And I just made the decision. I was like, I can't actually work. I need to still, you know, if I try and do marketing work or, you know, that kind of work, I end up in physical pain.
Sure, honey. Yes, a subtle hint from your guides, you see.
Very subtle. No, the universe pushes back real hard on me when I try and do anything else. So I just try and use the skills that I developed, stuffed in my little tiny box, to help me live a life where I can live totally 100% lined up in my physical world and my spiritual world, all lined up together. So that I can do this work. Yeah,
well, sweetheart, I just want to say again here on the record with great joy and enthusiasm, you know, get ready. I've worked with a lot of people, my friend, and I put you right there at the tippy top. You are extraordinarily connected, and you are a clear and open channel, and you're a huge gift to all of us on this path. So, you know, that's why I love you, and that's why I'm so happy to do what I can to make more people familiar with what a great gift you are, because, you know, we've talked a few times, not that many, but I didn't know a lot of this. I hadn't heard a lot of this part of the story yet. So that's amazing. That's your depth of commitment, you know, to bring the light into the world at this time. It's very heroic.
I am committed, and I also am compelled. You know, like I said, I really cannot do it.
That's a good word.
If I had been able to, I really might have made the easier choice. Sit down, shut up, and go back to work. And Can I tell you, Ingrid? Can I tell you my joke? My joke is I tried everything else. Yeah. Can't do it.
Can't do it. Sorry.
Once you're awake and open and like sort of chosen, you know, it's what it feels like. It feels like something, like a hand comes down from the skies and boom, and like you just it's like, okay. Do. And it was hard for me to let go of, like I talked about, that ego identity of that professional working woman. And you know, I come from a family that is very like, you know, get up, get a job, do what you need to do, you know, bring home a salary, you know, get up, work, go to sleep, die, you know. Like, don't make too much money, but you got to make enough money. And it's just, you know, so I had to really bust out of that.
Sure. Yeah, but I love also, sweetheart, that you said, you know, you were supported. And this is so important for people to understand, because as you and I were chatting here before we started and talking about how intense the energies are right now. And, you know, we both know, and I think we all know, you know, that, you know, from here on in, it's just going up and up. So, you know, there will be these huge awakenings that people will go through, like you and I have gone through, and the support is there to help us to move through them, right?
it really, really is. And if you end up blasting out of your head like I did, and like I know you did, Lou. I know you talked a little bit about your
Yeah.
awakening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that for everybody. And I don't want to say that I encourage that happening for people, because I think that it could be, I think that happens for people. Well, I don't know. I mean, because people end up in difficult situations when they crack open like that sometimes.
Sure. But you're making great sense, my friend. All I want to add to what you're saying, which is a lot of wisdom there, is it happens in accordance to our own willingness to, to believe it.
Mm-hmm, it does. And, one of the things that I've noticed that has really, one of sort of my lifelines is whenever I've been having internal struggle over the last few years, and really all of my life, but I really noticed it over the last few years, when you feel alone, when you feel like you're alone and you don't know how to ask for support or how to ask for what you need. I've always received a phone call of some really difficult transformation. And it's always been the right person who could give me the right words and the right energy. And it's often not who I expect, but it's always somebody who it's like they hear the call, Ingrid needs you, and they pick up the phone and they go, hi, I don't know, what are you doing?
Right.
And that's, people don't call me all the time. I'm not energetically terribly open to that. I like texting and call me.
Sure.
So that's something that I hang on to, and that I like to share with people, and that support and help is there, and everything that is happening for you, within you, without you, is always happening to our highest benefit, to our best benefit.
Right. That's
so
right.
And taken care of. And when it's hard, it's because we've defined it.
Amen to that. Yes, that's right. That's well said. Yeah, no, that's good. So you were saying, you brought your story up to a certain point, and then I kind of got us maybe, into the bigger picture. But do you want to pick up again 3 years ago and what's happened since then?
Well, sure. Like I said, I couldn't work for a year. So I was really I was hiding out. I was doing a lot of inner work. I was very, very open and really exploring my gifts and trying to figure out what they were and what I was kind of here for. Something that I felt very attached to for a long time was mediumship, because having lost a loved one, my father, when I was a kid, having that connection back was so important to me. And I really desperately wanted to bring that to other people and to help them heal that way by bringing through their loved ones. And what I discovered, much to my irritation, was that it's hit and miss. Bringing through loved ones is hit and miss.
Right.
And I didn't understand that, so a big part of my journey has been coming to the understanding of what my particular gifts are that I can offer the world. And I came up with, like I said, spiritual mediumship, which is, your loved ones do come through. When they do, I still freaking love it. I just absolutely, Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, I love this. This is so good. But I also interact with a lot of spirit guides, angels. I get extraterrestrials now coming through, which was really strange when that first started happening. I'll be like, I'm getting aliens. Right. So I talk to spirit guides. I talk to mine a lot. My guide is named Mons, M-O-N-Z.
Right.
And he's my lifeline. And I converse with him daily, and we're always talking, and he will show up to deliver the message. And he comes to help in public channelings. I do live channelings on Facebook and put them on what have you every week. And so it's been a continuing journey of discovering and changing. I find that those of us, anyone who's walking this path, our gifts, our skills will change and morph and grow and expand. And it's important to let that happen, I think. I know, actually. Yeah. And that was where I came to when I started this religious organization. My guide showed up maybe 6 months ago, and he said, Ingrid, you need to start a church. And I said, absolutely not. That is not going to happen, because I'd been on the periphery of 2 other churches that were just getting started, and the political backstabbing and egos and that was happening. It was so off-putting to me. I was just like, never again.
Sure.
Now I grew up a pagan girl, so I really have no particular experience with churches.
Okay.
But so he kind of went, okay, all right, and he went away. And I'm like, that's right, free will. I do what I want.
Right.
And then he showed up later, a couple months later, and he said, Ingrid, you need to start a church because you need to teach people how to do what you do and
Right.
ordain them ministers so that they can be protected. And I went, I could get behind that.
Okay. Okay.
So that's when I started walking down this path and exploring it and coming to where I came to. And it is about training people and ordaining people as ministers and starting the school. It's also becoming about direct connection to the divine and understanding that, you know, me standing up in front of you giving a sermon, you know, my weekly channeling is not about me being the messenger of God so much as just the channel, just opening up and being and trying to be that direct connection and helping people connect directly. A lot of times people need a channel to start with because they don't have confidence that they can do it themselves. But the idea is always to let's hook you up directly with the infinite. And that's what I do in my private work too, which is not under the church moniker, but as I work with people one-on-one, it'll start out as, you know, I'm a channel and I'm bringing stuff through. And then pretty soon we'll find that the working together changes and morphs to let's hook you up directly. Let's connect you.
Right. Brilliant. Well, I'm just give you what I'm sort of getting here prompted to ask, which is when you described your you know, incredible opening with your father's energy and spirit coming into you, and then sort of like being removed from the world for like a year, if I understood. So it's like, and I know from having had a reading and a session with you, you know, you work extremely, you're extremely sensitive energetically, and you're working in people's field, and you're, you know, so it's, you know, if you could talk a little bit more, so people understand more of, you know, that yes, you are the medium and you're, you know, really great at it, but what happens for you energetically, and how do you work energetically with people?
That's a really, really good question. And I'm really glad you asked that because it's not something I've thought a lot about. I just kind of do. So here's what I do. Here's my process. I'll start with telling you what the process is for a reading. I start every reading with a prayer, usually before I talk to the person. I don't bother the person. And my prayer is really simple. Dear God inside me, because I am God, God within me, help me move my own bullshit aside.
Right. Right. Very
and then
American.
I just put that shit aside because we all got it, you know, and it's not that mine has never come through. It has, you know, blocked it. So I work really hard on that. And then I say, help me hear the message clearly.
Right.
I deliver it in a way that is understandable, and the person who I'm working with can use it to transform their life.
That's
great.
Then
I just say, I welcome any and all beings who are here in support of this person.
Great.
You know. And that's it. I keep it really simple. And then what I do, it's like, it really is like kind of a literal parting of the mind sea. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it happen. Like it opens up. And if I'm in meditation when this happens and I look up in my meditation, I see the night sky and the stars.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll start with, I usually do I doodle while I do readings.
Right, right.
It's a monkey mind of mine, something to do over here. So get the hell out of my way.
Right.
And then I usually start by tuning into the person's energy, their chakra energies, just to get started, and then we out from there. And sometimes beings show up, and sometimes they don't, and I have no control over that.
Sure.
And it's something that I learned not to force. If people want to connect with someone directly, have a particular loved one they want to connect with, I never guarantee that I can do that.
Of course. Yeah.
But if you give me a picture, what I'll find is I'll either be able to connect with that being, and that'll be really clear to me, or even if I'm not able to connect with that being, I can read the picture and give more information about the relationship, you know, with that person kind of in that way.
Sure. Brilliant.
And then, I'm very clairvoyant, so I see a lot. I'm really empathic, so I feel a lot. I really, really connect deeply with a person's energy. Yeah. I'm a little bit clairaudient, so I get really excited when I hear voices like I heard it, you know, but I'm not very clairaudient. And I'm not claircognizant at all. So claircognizant is that clear knowing, like when you just know something in your gut. That's not me. So when I think I know something, I'm judging. Like I don't know anything. It's like it all comes from these senses here when I get that.
Okay.
Everybody is different, and everybody thinks differently. When a being show up, I will see them in my mind's eye sometimes, or sometimes it will show up corporeally right here. But, well, there it is.
Wow.
I've actually been interrupted by beings in a session that had nothing to do with the person I was sitting with.
Right.
Somebody like totally like crashed the session. You know, I felt like I'd go, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Right.
Does
That's
that help answer the question?
Oh
a
yes,
little bit?
absolutely. No, that's gorgeous. That's wonderful. Yeah, I just want to say, of course, I mean, I get spirits sometimes from loved ones in sessions when people are asking, but I just relate to, that it's entirely based on the free will of the spirit of that person, of course, who is or is not willing to have this interaction. And it's also based on, the readiness, again, the receptivity, the willingness of the person that we're working with. A lot of times, people are so attached to something that spirit just steps back and says, they're not ready yet. So they have to cook a little more.
Totally. One of the things that I've found is grief. People who are
Right.
still feeling very deeply, it will have a hard time bringing the spirit through because
Right. Right.
process. Also, it's a frequency match.
Right.
Spirits that show up for you and I as channels have to be a match to our frequency.
Sure.
And if a loved one, and it doesn't mean it's better or worse or bad
Right.
or good,
Right.
or
Right.
mismatch. And so if spirit is a mismatch, I won't be able to bring that spirit through. They won't be able to connect with me, or I won't be able to connect with them. I don't know how it works. The other thing that I have found is this, a spirit, being a loved one can be going through that really important integration period, which
Yes.
happens after we and
Yes.
that doesn't always correlate with our physical timeline.
Sure.
That we understand time.
Yeah.
So, this person died a year ago. How can they? Well, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I will usually, when somebody's not available, that's usually the message I'll get. They're not available.
Yeah.
They're busy.
Yeah.
Busy, right? They're healing. Other times, if I just get a total blank, it's my indication. It's like, it feels like a frequency mismatch. So I just tell people, I'm not the medium for you, but you'll find that person because that's who you're.
Sure. Sure. I love what you said about grief, how, we all get so caught up in our grief when we lose a loved one, and that very heaviness and that the sadness and trauma and all that, keeps spirit at a distance because the vibration is too different from the way spirit is.
Well, when we transition from our body, we go back to grace.
Right.
That's,
Yeah, that's a party.
That heaviness, you talk about that very heavy energetic bubble,
Right.
And I get it because I went to a medium. Actually, that's another story I'd love to tell you.
Yeah.
A little bit. But I remember when I was a kid, my mother took me to a medium, and I don't feel like she connected with my dad at all. She was saying things like, "I'm proud of how you're doing in school." And the thing that jarred me about that was not
right.
And my dad kept me out of school at homeschool because he thought school was evil.
Right. No, not everyone that says they're a psychic or a medium actually is one or is very good at it.
Because, I think she is legitimate. A lot of people who I know go to her. She travels.
Right.
The area where I'm at, and people swear by her, and they've had amazing readings with her.
Right.
I did not have that amazing reading with her, but I was full of grief, and, we're not always able to connect. And it's every single one of us has been in that place where we push through anyway, even when we're not able to, especially if we're getting paid, we want to be able to deliver, it's like, so I really don't hold it against her. And I just feel like, okay, well, that didn't happen. But the other story I wanted to tell you was, and this was so important for, I always tell this story to people who are mediums, and, especially when you're first starting out as a medium, and, there's a lot of insecurity. There's actually always a lot of insecurity, but especially in the beginning. And the reason is because we really need that validation, that confirmation, because we're physical beings having a physical experience. We need something physical to sink our teeth into. And mediumship and spiritual mediumship and connecting with that's very not physical. That's ethereal. And it's hard for us to kind of keep our faith about it, to just be like, even though I can't see what's happening, I know it's right. Well, that's hard for all of us. So, people don't get immediate validation on their readings. I always tell them this story. When my father first died 20 years ago, my mom went to a medium about a year later after he died. She didn't tell me about it. I never knew about it. So she talked to this medium, and she wrote down notes as she was talking to this medium. And, fast forward 20 odd years, and I'm coming into this work as a medium, and I'm just talking to her about it. She says, "Oh, I went to a medium after your dad died. She had some good stuff to say." And I said, "Oh, did you?" She goes, yeah, I still have the notes. I'll go get them. Okay. I'm sorry. Who keeps these notes, not my family. We're not that organized, but like she just knew right where they were. And she took out the notes and she handed them to me and I started reading through it. And this medium connected really strongly with my father. And there were messages for me in there that related to where I was at that day. 20 years ago, they would have made no sense to me.
Right.
It wasn't until I cracked open, came into this work, and that these messages were relevant to me, that he was giving me these messages.
Right.
So I tell people that story because, the messages you receive might not be relevant to that person, to that time, but in 20 years, you don't know. That could come up and that could be what that person needs. And he was telling me all these things I needed to know and understand about myself and my gifts and where I was at and where I was going. And she didn't know, and she wrote it down. Went, oh, okay, whatever, So it was right around my birthday too.
Oh, really?
And it happened when she went to see that medium is around my birthday. So he was saying happy birthday to me, this medium. And then he said it 2 years later. It was just a really, really beautiful experience.
Oh God, that's great. That's a great story. Thanks so much for sharing that. Spirit will just use everything,
Everything.
Yeah. And you'll know really that it is from spirit because it's just, as you said, it is so unbelievably, miraculously accurate.
Yes. And the timing is perfect.
Right.
Spirit has perfect, impeccable timing.
Yes.
You don't.
Yes, that's right. That's the difference. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. And, the thing is that we just have to, when people say like, well, how do I know that's a sign? And I say to people, well, if you see something in your environment and you feel like it's a sign, you think it's a sign, it is a sign because that's part of what spirit does with that thought in your head. I mean, how many things in your environment could be a sign, if you really want it?
Right.
But we don't think about that. We don't, that's not how our brain works. When we see something and it hits us, that's a sign. And people kind of go, well, maybe. And I say, well, what's the harm in believing, in having faith in it?
Sure.
And then as we build our faith muscle, strengthen our faith muscle, we get more of that. And it becomes even more miraculous. And the timing is more perfect. And the messages are more profound and more detailed.
Yes.
What's the harm in trying on a little bit of faith? Just see
what
happens.
Yeah, that's right. My guides say, that's beautifully said, hon. The more deeply we journey into ourself, the more intimate life becomes with us.
Yes. Oh God, I love that, Lou.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, you're expressing it beautifully, and again, it's why I'm just so grateful for all of our connections and, having a new friend that we can share our toys together and go, yes, and don't forget this part,
We don't have very many conversations. We're on opposite sides of the world and, doing our thing, but and we're connected on Facebook I feel so strongly connected to you. Like I told you this before, but just you pop up in my day all the time.
Thank you. Well, you're very, very special to me, my dear friend. I mean, it's the same here. I'm like soul sister, and we're on opposite sides of the world or whatever. But again, like when we have moments like this, I just check all the boxes. I go, yep. I know that one. Oh, yep. I know that one.
Yeah.
So, we're very blessed, obviously, to get to reconnect with each other. So, we still have a little bit of time here. I want to just open this to whatever you feel like you'd like to share or do. If you want to do some channeling or anything that's on your heart there.
Really, 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 really fun right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm getting my pen.
Okay. Good.
I can do a doodling.
Good. Lovely.
I'll just open up by saying, like I said before, just sending a little prayer out to the God inside me, God all around me. Help me move my own bullshit aside. Hear the message clearly, deliver it in a way that is understandable, and we can all use it to transform our lives. And of course, I welcome any and all beings here in support of us today. And Lou, we've got someone for you.
Okay.
Wow. Who is this? So I feel like that he's actually for a lot of us, for all of us, but he's really pointedly, forgive me for not looking at the camera and zoning out.
All right. You're fine.
He's pointedly addressing or attending. That's what he's attending to you.
Great.
You and your mouth. You and your mouth. He's showing me the mouth. So let me just describe it. He's blue. I feel like we've seen blue before with you.
Okay.
He's blue. He's tall. He's absolutely royal looking, and he's showing himself. He's extra dimensional.
Yeah.
So that's extraterrestrial. That's extra dimensional. He's from a different dimension. He's coming in for a visit, and he's not exactly your guide. He's more like on your committee. There's four extra dimensional beings, and I feel like we all have four extra dimensional beings who form a committee, and I see them around this table, and it's this kind of like flat table, but it's like do you remember in Lord of the Rings, the Lothlorien, you know, kind of like looking into the table or looking, you know what it was? It was like water almost.
Yes.
That's kind of the thing that I'm getting. There's something water, but the water is symbolizing the water for you. I'm seeing four of them come around. Okay, so apparently this is real.
Lovely.
I think four of them, and he seems to be like a leader. He's very, very tall. You know, when I see these angelic beings, they show up as very, very tall, but he's not exactly saying thank you. He's not exactly an angel. He's he's extra dimensional. So he's like what the ancients called a god, is what he is. But what I will say is more accurately, he's extra dimensional. So it's not any better or worse, simply a very, very different and high frequency. You know, it's like a shrillness here to his frequency that he's actually purposefully dumbing down and kind of trying to make it more low tone. I get it's not really frequency that I'm getting, is tone, like low tone, and the tone that he's going for is in his heart. The one he operates at, the tone is up here, so I'm getting tones really strongly. And he's showing up here deliver something to you, a birthday message perhaps.
Yeah.
Now let me just tune in and see what he has to say. He's pointing to his ear, and he's telling you to listen. Listen. You know what? I got this song looping in my head that from Yogananda. It goes, listen, listen, listen to my heart song, like that, the heart song. So that's why I was feeling the heart. So Lou, you've got, and I feel like since this is on an interview, I'm sure this applies to everybody, but he's really zeroing in on you, my darling.
All right.
And he's really saying, listen to that heart song, the song in your heart. There's the desire is the song of our heart. Our desires are the song of our heart. And I feel like what I'm getting from him is you have a desire in there, a deep, burning, white hot desire. It has to do with your work and your reach and what how you're connecting with people in the world. And there's when we have these white hot desires, it's so hard to follow them. It's so hard to open up and let them take us over, because what if there's the disappointment factor, there's that. And so he's telling you that now is the time to open up to that and listen to your heart song.
All right.
Because that's where it's taking you, where it needs to go. And I do, he's really focused on you, but it's also, this message is also for other people. And I also know this because I'm being taken back to yesterday. I did a live video where I did oracle card readings, and I just pulled a card to talk about the week's energies because I didn't get to channel this week. Right. And what I got was the card listen. And then on the other side, on the bottom of the deck, was a card that said go now. These oracle cards, listen, go now. But for you, he's being very clear about following the desire, that white hot desire inside of you. And I'm feeling it so strongly, Lou. I'm feeling like it's been there for so long, and it's almost like a secret. You don't talk about it. You keep it a secret. And he's asking you to move forward on that. And he's showing me the committee again, and he's sort of here at the head, and there's a woman, extra dimensional being who's a woman, and I see the High Priestess tarot card as I'm leaning into her. And then I see her, it's like, here's the table. It's like an oval shaped table. He's here. This woman is here. And there's someone here and here. And I'm seeing the backs of these people, like the side and the backs of these people. And they're giving me the no on the connection with them. Okay. Let me see if anything else wants to come through just for fun. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. He is sort of like turning around, walking away. And I can sense that he's like kind of going up, like kind of removing himself from our tone. It's tone. He's being really clear about that. These extra dimensional beings operate on tones, which maybe it must be the same thing as frequency. I don't know enough about it, like in my head to know, but he's being really clear about tones. There's a high, high, high tone and a low, low, low tone. And he's being really clear that it's not about higher, lower, better, worse. It's about tone. It's just tone. And where you are, and he's saying where I am, where there's a heart tone that we operate from. This is about where we go, sort of the height of it in our physical body. This heart tone. Cool. Let's see what else wants to come through.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of energy coming through my body right now when you started.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My crown went boom.
Yeah.
Crown chakra. Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got my guide showing up. I adore him. Mons, who's kind of the spiritual love of my life nowadays.
Yeah, good.
He's showing up here. And he's showing up in, he's sort of talking about the tones as well. Here's what's interesting. Our spirit guides are in our dimension. They're in spirit, but they're not extra dimensional like what I just talked about, like who I just channeled. And I'm asking, I'm bouncing a little bit here, but that's
all right.
My guide is pointing me to this being who I showed, I channeled. He's tall. His face is, he's tall and he's thin and he's very, very tall. I mean, maybe like 7.5 feet tall. And his face, showed up as an older man. So he looks like he's in his 70s, but sort of a very healthy 70s, that beautiful weathered face, but like a life well lived, but stays, very healthy. Dressed in all blue gown, a blue head, something or other that kind of comes up here, like a head wrap. And it's a flowing gown, and he's nothing, all naked underneath is what they're telling me. It's like just the gown over. And there's something about that is important for me to bring out and to express. It's the putting the gown over the naked body and that loose clothing. Okay, this is really interesting. So I'm actually getting something sort of practical for humans. Is loose clothing, wearing loose clothing against your skin is really important. Is really good. It's really good for our physical bodies, and it's good for our connection to spirit. When we wear really tight clothes or like tight underwear, or when women wear tight bras and that kind of keep things, there's a constriction. There's literally a spiritual constriction that happens. So those long flowing clothes are really valuable. And wearing shoes that are soft and pliable and where you can feel the earth underneath your feet, as opposed to big boots or tennis shoes. That's what he's showing me as well. So.
Okay. Right.
From a self-care perspective, to don't avoid wearing really tight clothes against your body. That's spiritually and physically very beneficial for us.
Okay,
so good to know, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, like all the South Sea people, the equatorial people throughout the world, they have the muumuus and the kaftans and all that. Sarong, yeah.
Light colors are also great. He's wearing this beautiful light blue, but white is great, and light beige and grays, and reds are fun. I get there's something kind of fun about a red. Black is, it's a different energy, but sort of those lighter colors, whites and tans and beiges and blues and greens.
I prefer light colors. I don't care for black generally. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see what else wants to come through. Okay. There's a lot of extraterrestrial activity that I've been picking up on lately, and I'm getting nudged about that.
Yeah.
So leaning into that, aliens, extraterrestrials, the other beings from other planets are very important in Earth's history, in human history, and they're important for our future and our present day, and something that we are losing our fear of extraterrestrials, so they're going to be able to make more of an appearance to us. There's more happening on that front. There's more help available. There's more admiration.
Yeah.
For us, admiration of us.
Great.
We can expect more activity on that front, more people having physical experiences with extraterrestrials and talking about it. I'm getting that our government is going to start letting stuff out pretty soon, like in the next 5 years or so. We're going to start seeing. It won't be the whole story, governmental agencies don't work like that. They don't want to give us everything, but they're going to start talking about it and revealing some things that are going to be are going to be an important step in us reconnecting with our universe brothers, something like that, universal brothers and sisters. It's like we're the human family, there's the universe family, or the galaxy family, something in there, but there's like space family, and like we are connected, we're bonded in a very important way, and there's been a lot of patience and waiting and allowing us our process before they return, and we already know they've been here and had a lot to do with human history but people are gonna be able to start talking about it, being heard, being believed, and our governments are going to start revealing some things as well. But when they start revealing that, remember, it's not the whole story. There's so much more.
Sure.
There's more connection coming on that front, but that again is going to take some time. This is not an immediate drop of the hat.
Right. Very good.
Okay. Oh, I'm feeling the need to wrap it up. Your screen is going gray.
Yes.
So I'm feeling going. Thank you so much for that. I really hope that that is beneficial to the people who are listening. I want to remind everyone that just because something came through very distinctly for Lou, it means that he needed to hear that message as a personal message, but that listening to your heart song, damn, that applies. That applies to all of us.
Sure.
It's so important to tune in, and those desires that scare us, the ones that we hold secret, the deep ones, that's the stuff. That's the stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's what's going to get on trajectory to really live our destiny.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, thank you. Take the cue of the techno snafus that are happening as we hit our stride. Yeah. Thank you. I love you and appreciate you.
They screw it all up for us on the technology.
Okay. All right. Well, we're there anyway. So where can people find more about your information, more of your info?
My website is ingridhturner.com. So INGRIDH, like healer, and Turner, TURNER.com. Or I would love for people to join our Facebook group. It's called Living in Partnership with Spirit, and you can find me and Lou and a whole host of other amazing teachers and healers and seekers and channels and what have you, all there at your service, at your disposal.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for doing this for me, friend. I'm so grateful to you. All my love.
Thank you, and happy birthday, Lou.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. It was a perfect place to get to reconnect, and your reading was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. Bye, sweetie.
All right. See you soon.